In Gen 3 OU, it's not uncommon to see some truly out there strategies in high level play. If a Pokemon has just one or two unique tools at its disposal that nothing else has, there's probably some way to take advantage of that on a competitive team. Some examples include Roselia, who has been used in high level games before due to its unique combination of typing and moveset options. Wailord has the combination of Water Spout and Self-Destruct, making it a pretty nice aggressive opener on special offense teams and an effective lure for special walls. Even Butterfree has some merit, thanks to its ability Compound Eyes, granting it a highly accurate Sleep Powder and Stun Spore. Nothing else in the game has an accurate sleep and paralysis move. While most high-level play will lean towards safer strategies and reliable Pokemon, throwing a curveball at your opponent with an unexpected niche choice can be a great idea sometimes. I've already done one video about unorthodox strategies that have seen success in tournaments and the high ladder, so let's do another one. Here's some more crazy ideas that somehow worked out in Gen 3 OU. But first, a predicament. The famous digital Pokemon Porygon 2 was recently using the World Wide Web to look up some strategies for his upcoming tournament game. A friend of his sent through what appeared to be a useful URL link, and that's when it was all over. This turned out to be a phishing scam the entire time, and Porygon 2 had all of his account information stolen in mere moments. None of this would have happened if Porygon 2 simply used NordVPN and its threat protection features, which can flag malicious links and more. Scammers are everywhere online, and sometimes they'll even go as far as pretending to be someone you trust, like a friend or a popular online service, so that they can steal your information. NordVPN keeps you safe from these phishing scams, malware, and more. By encrypting your online traffic, you can not only maintain your privacy, you can rest easy when connecting to public Wi-Fi and surfing the web. But the utility of NordVPN does not end there. The iconic Pokemon Tyranitar has even been using NordVPN to watch geo-locked content on his favorite streaming services such as Netflix. What an incredible advantage. Head over to nordvpn.com/JimCool for an incredible exclusive offer. You can save up to 72% on NordVPN plans and receive 4 extra months absolutely free. What an unbelievable deal. That's up to 72% off and 4 extra months for free using my link nordvpn.com/JimCool. Thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Victreebel is a Pokemon that doesn't seem like it has much to offer. Back in Gen 1, this guy was a reasonably viable choice as a late game cleaner. The move Wrap used to completely immobilize the opponent and prevent them from acting, which created some really annoying situations. But Wrap was swiftly reworked since Gen 2, and Victreebel struggled to find much of a place for itself in the following games. In Gen 3, Victreebel has the ability Chlorophyll, which grants double speed in Sun. With some support from Sunny Day and access to Solar Beam for huge grass stab, this sounds decent, but in this already very niche role of Sun Sweepers, Victreebel is outclassed by Exeggutor. Exeggutor has a much higher special attack stat of base 125 and access to Explosion. Another way Victreebel could be used is as an aggressive sleep lead. Sleep Powder is one of the more accurate sleep inflicting moves in the game. Putting an enemy to sleep provides a huge amount of short-term value and momentum. But in this department, Victreebel is largely outclassed by Venusaur, who has the exact same grass poison typing and superior stats. But Victreebel does have a couple of unique tools that Venusaur doesn't. Most notably, Victreebel has access to the move Encore, a pretty rarely seen move in Gen 3. Encore forces the enemy Pokemon to repeat the move they just made for up to 6 turns. This can be an amazing way to pacify enemies, forcing them to repeat moves that leave them vulnerable, like boosts, healing moves, or status moves. The excellent player Watermess managed to build a team around this unique tool that achieved impressive results on the ladder. Another minor advantage Victreebel has over Venusaur is its higher attack stat of base 100. With the support of Magneton, you have a reliable way to eliminate Skarmory, and you can take advantage of your stab-boosted sludge bombs more effectively. Victreebel starts off games with huge early momentum thanks to Sleep Powder, and Encore gives you useful utility in the mid-game against specific enemies. You can pivot into a Toxic, and because of your poison immunity, Encore them and leave them totally vulnerable. Encore can punish Snorlax using Curse, or Suicune using Calm Mind. And my favorite application of Encore on this team is in the Metagross lead matchup. Against a Metagross lead, you could substitute first to see what they decide to use. If they happen to use Meteor Mash, you can Encore, sacrifice yourself, and then go to Magneton for a guaranteed trap. They can't Earthquake you because because you've locked them into Encore and they can't switch out because of Magnet Pull. Eliminating Metagross like this is amazing for the rest of your team, especially Snorlax, who can really struggle in that matchup. This just goes to show how much a single unique utility option can help to set a Pokemon apart and enable awesome synergies. And on this particular team, Victreebel is way better than Venusaur thanks to Encore. Up next we have a team featuring the Pokemon Electrode. Electrode managed to earn itself a win in one of the biggest tournaments of the year, Smogon Premier League, and was used by none other than Super Epic Ampharos. Super Epic Ampharos, or C for short, is one of the most creative high-level Gen 3 OU players, and their various novel strategies have featured on this channel multiple times. Electrode is an interesting choice. There is one very obvious advantage to Electrode that you've probably already noticed, that enormous base speed stat of 140. Electrode is among the fastest Pokemon of all time, especially in Gen 3. Only the Deoxys forms and Ninjask have Electrode beat in this department. Electrode is able to outrun the two fastest Pokemon in OU, Aerodactyl and Jolteon. Although this sounds excellent, Electrode doesn't have very much to offer beyond that. This guy's defensive stats are horrendous, and its special attack is a measly base 80. You might be able to outrun Aerodactyl, but what's the point if you can't even KO it? Electrode does have access to Explosion, which is always good, and it can at least cripple these fast threats with Thunder Wave to support the team. The ability Static can also come in handy to earn a random paralysis and bring you back into a game. But in most situations, it's pretty easy to stop and wear down Electrode. The utility option that C chose to build around in this SPL game was Light Screen. Light Screen is an effect that will cause your team to take halved damage from special attacks for 5 turns. This team was an aggressive Smeargle Spikes build with multiple different boost sweepers, a Dragon Dance Salamence, Dragon Dance Tyranitar, and Agility Metagross. If there's any kind of team style where Electrode might fit, this is definitely it. The speed control and fast explosion from Electrode can be really useful for keeping up momentum here, and Light Screen is also able to support all of these boost sweepers, shielding them from incoming damage so they can start snowballing and clean up games. C started off this game very aggressively, sacrificing Smeargle just for a single layer of spikes, and immediately going in with Dragon Dance Tyranitar and Metagross. It was looking extremely dire after a full paralysis prevented Metagross from trading with Zapdos, and Rob Jr. took out nearly the entire team from there. That is of course till Electrode hit the field. Electrode switched in on a Tyranitar Rock Slide, and Rob Jr. switched Swampert in, probably expecting Thunder Wave or Thunderbolt. But C managed to squeeze in a Light Screen and finish off that low health Swampert, then explode into Tyranitar, denying it from potentially Dragon Dancing and doing significant damage in the process. Then in came Salamence. Rob Jr.'s last 2 Pokemon weren't revealed at this point. If there happened to be something bulky with Ice Beam in the back like Blissey, it could have easily stopped this Salamence sweep, but that Light Screen acted as an extra layer of insurance. And from here, C successfully found an avenue to set up Salamence and clean up the game. This extremely aggressive style of team is a great fit for Electro, and this battle was a good showcase of that. Finally, we have an extremely evil and messed up strategy involving the morally bankrupt Pokemon Gardevoir that actually stretches back much further than I even realized. I was recently made aware of Gardevoir's potential to cheese games thanks to this team by the player Pokology. Pokology is a player who really loves to think outside the box and build around absurd game plans, and this team is no different. The idea of this team is basically to ruin Magneton's entire life. Magneton mostly exists to trap and eliminate Skarmory, so this particular Skarmory set is using the aptly named move Torment, a move that makes the enemy unable to use the same move twice in a row. By tormenting an incoming Magneton and then feinting on purpose, you can bring in Dugtrio, and this is where it begins. Since they can't use Hidden Power twice in a row, this Dugtrio can substitute and continuously spam Sand Attack until Magneton has the minimum accuracy possible. Magneton is unable to switch out and clear the stat drops because it's trapped. Dugtrio can then keep clicking stuff until it dies on purpose, and in comes Gardevoir, and this is where it really begins. Gardevoir has the ability Trace, which copies the enemy's ability. Copying Magnet Pull means Magneton still can't switch out, and because it can't hit any moves, Gardevoir can just substitute and Calm Mind all the way up until its stats are maxed. This poor Magneton. From there, you sweep the entire game and one-hit KO everything. This team is of course extremely cheesy and all in on facing Magneton in particular, and even then it can still be beaten sometimes. The Magneton can just choose to switch out against Skarmory if they're aware of what's coming next, or if you have a couple faster physical threats, you can just eliminate Gardevoir and stabilize from there. But I recently discovered that this Gardevoir trapping idea stretches back even further and was used in a tournament game back in 2018 by the player Blightbringer. This approach not only covered the Magneton matchup but also the Dugtrio matchup. This Skarmory was not using Torment, it was just willing to feint against Magneton, and that's where it begins, folks. Say hello to the most dastardly Porygon 2 set ever conceived. Porygon 2 also has Trace and can trap Magneton with its own magnet pull. And this Porygon 2 set is using a moveset with Flash, Conversion 2, Rest, and Recover. After Magneton uses Thunderbolt, Porygon 2 can use Conversion 2 and transform into a type that resists or is immune to Electric. With Rest, you can also heal your HP and cure Toxic. Porygon 2 can basically become invincible here and spam Flash until Magneton has the minimum possible accuracy. Blightbringer took it even further in this battle and completely stalled Magneton's PP for about 70 turns. Then they switched into Gardevoir and things got insane. This Gardevoir didn't even have Substitute. The enemy's Magneton was out of Toxics and attacks with only a few Protects left. Even Struggle just kept missing. This Magneton has a very fitting nickname for this situation, by the way. Gardevoir starts Calm Minding and you'll notice that it doesn't even have leftovers. Gardevoir eventually gets chipped by sand enough that it consumes a Salac Berry, granting +1 speed. Then it uses Wish to recover back to health. And with that extra speed, Gardevoir outruns the entire metagame. So even getting revenge KO'd by something like Aerodactyl is no longer a concern. This of course outran and swept everything with ease. This goes down in history as perhaps the most evil thing to ever happen in a Gen 3 tournament game. I personally think this is a great argument in favor of banning accuracy dropping moves, but that's a conversation for another time. Thank you for watching, folks, and if you enjoyed this, I could do even more entries in this series in the future.